Oh man, this is an emergency video, just sipping my tea. But Bitcoin is unstoppable this morning, up 2.44%. But more importantly, starting to reclaim some critical levels. What does this mean for the Bitcoin price? Are we, like many expected, going to end October on the ascendancy? Remember, I said yesterday in our update and on Twitter, and if you don't follow me on Twitter, at Ijaz is where you want to be following me, I said that we managed somehow to hold yesterday's candle close fairly well above our EMA ribbon here. You can see we were in the, just only shallow into our EMA ribbon here. This is impressive considering we wicked well below the EMA ribbon. Of course, we had a global volatile week last week, and that shuddered the risk off sentiment, right? It really put that into perspective that people were really worried about being in crypto. That normally happens when you get any kind of war or conflict. But now, because we're able to close that candlestick fairly positively here, holding the EMA ribbon and not losing that weekly EMA ribbon, we've now started off this week powerfully with a nice green stem to the candle, showing that Bitcoin's trying to bounce. Now, by all means, does this not mean, that we suddenly now out of the woods and everything's comfortable again? There's a lot of work to do. I mean, first and foremost, on this weekly chart, you guys know that until we're past 32 here, none of this really makes a difference, right? Until we pass 32, all we're doing is still forming a nasty big head and shoulders pattern, left shoulder, head, and then any of this, even if we rotate here and back down again, will just become the right shoulder again. So this move has to take us past 32 over the next set of weeks and months. That's critical, we know that, but it can happen very quickly. So we need to be prepared for both sides, because there's a lot of shorts in this market now on Bitcoin, trying to and expecting the price to go down, and they start shorting. But what that means is you can create a short squeeze, liquidate those guys, and start pushing the price quite quickly to the upside. So straight away today here, you can see the daily candle, really powerful here on Bitcoin. Nice 2.4% move, which in a bear market is quite a lot. Obviously in a bull market it's not a lot, but considering what we had last week, this is a nice big candlestick showing that between yesterday, which was up 1.25 on a Sunday, and today 2.4, this is a nice recovery and pretty much makes up for a lot of the downside we saw from last week, right? All this was last week to the downside. We've pretty much made up most of it already, and this is why it's important to be in the market, not trying to time the market. Really important just to stay in the market if you have conviction, because this mechanism is designed to shake you out, right? That's what Bitcoin's designed to do. So if we now want to look at, where can we head to? The first thing here on the daily chart is you can see all of these candle closes around 28,000, right? We got to break past 28,000. You can already see intraday here today, the wick of the candle shows that we're getting rejected around that 28,000 mark. So the first point of call is we've got to break past 28 and we've got to hold above it. Once we've managed to do that on the shorter time frames, you can see this candlestick wick from the 2nd of October, we got rejected at the high of this candle, which is 28.6. So once we hold 28 and get past 28, we need to really get past 28.6, because that's the local resistance we've got. Once we manage to do that, then things are looking really, really positive, guys, because if we actually bring out some of the drawings and some of the lines we've got here, you'll start to see that not only have we got back into trend now, right? This candlestick's now bringing us back into this purple trend line, but we'll get above the 27.8 support here, okay? So we'll be break through the trend line, break above support. Let me show you this. So you can get break above here, and you start working your way to the upside. Now remember, the next major level of resistance comes from this green line, right? This is the triangle we fell from back then. We had a big fall down from that triangle. That support, which will now turn into resistance, is at 29,000. So those are the key levels I'm monitoring right now. Can we get above 28? If we can, great. Then you've got some resistance at 28.6 from that candle wick there. Once we clear that, then we can get a green light up to 29, and we've got to break through 29 and get past that level there. Okay, so these are the short-term kind of resistance levels, but of course, the long-term goal is this peak here, like I just shared with you on the weekly chart. That 32 level up there, we've got to get past that. We've got to, over the next kind of couple of weeks and months even, get past that level, get above 32, and we can start the next journey here for Bitcoin. But hopefully this serves as a reminder to you guys. It serves as a reminder to you guys that when you feel the weakest, when things feel the most boring, that is exactly what crypto will do. It'll wake up and rise like a phoenix, and it proves people wrong. That's how it's designed to work. So whenever you see yourself following the masses, you're sitting there, it's one of the reasons we look at fear and greed, because I want to do the opposite of what fear and greed is telling us. You're sitting here, you're seeing this start to notch down. Generally, that is when you start to see excitement in the market pop back in. So if we take a look at the traditional markets, make sure you look out for the US Open to see if that influences what's going on. Because obviously Bitcoin's pumping now on the Asian markets, which makes complete sense. But when the US markets come in, that could change the tone a little bit. So we could see the later part of today, after I've posted this video, the price start to fall back in and we give up some of our gains. So we need to really test, how strong is this move? If this move just came out of the gate strong in Asia, but then gives it away in the American hours, that's not great. If we can hold it through the American hours throughout the next kind of, 24-hour candlestick and close in the positive at midnight, then that's fantastic, right? That shows really good strength. It shows that we've got above our daily EMA ribbon like I shared with you, and that's really, really positive. The other thing we then want to notice is, what about the 4-hourly chart? Because the 4-hourly chart I love looking at. And what you can see here on the 4-hourly chart is something really interesting is happening. We managed to get above our EMA ribbon, which is fantastic. But you can see the flippening happen, right? The lighter colored lines of the EMA ribbon are contracting. They're going to rotate over, flip over. So the lighter colored lines come above the darker red colored lines of the EMA ribbon. And that normally sets you up for a big move to the upside. So I'm looking forward to seeing this on the 4-hourly chart show us a nice big move to the upside as the EMA ribbon flips. US markets are actually showing us here a little bit flat and tentative. Remember, it's a big earnings week this week, but there's no major catalyst from the macroeconomic front. So no CPI data or FOMC meeting or anything like that. There's a couple of Fed officials who are due to be speaking throughout the week. But to be honest, this week, markets have made up their mind. And this is what's quite interesting, is that all that data came out last week. Right? The week before that, we had the horrible jobs figure. Last week, we had all the inflation data. We had the conflict as well. And yet Bitcoin just says, you know what? We're just staying where we're at. What's your problem? We're not going to 25. We're not going to 20. People are shouting at 20. They're like, we're not even going to 25. So Bitcoin is showing some remarkable resilience in even more difficulty. And we shouldn't be surprised by that. We know last year when inflation was horrible, when Sam Bankman-Fried was pulling off one of the biggest scams we've ever seen, when we saw all of the stuff going on, crypto remained strong. And we're seeing Bitcoin remain strong here today as well. So you can see here, markets have pretty much set their minds at 94% are saying we're going to get no rate hike at the meeting on November the 1st. That's just over 2 weeks from now. And they're saying, you know what, we've decided that's not going to happen. And there's not really that much more data that can influence that between now and then. So that's something we're going to have to see, and maybe that's providing the calm in the market to allow Bitcoin to pump, the fact that there's less uncertainty now coming out this week. But that being said, we still have a few Fed officials. Hopefully they don't throw any spanners in the work this week, and we can pull off a nice, powerful week. Now, if you guys want to trade, make sure you're in our Telegram group. I've been posting these over the weekend. We've just been hitting take profit after take profit recently. We've been on a crazy win streak here. 10% spot trade profit on this trade we took. Jump into our Telegram group, ijaz.uk/TG, and make sure you take advantage of this. If you guys want to learn TA, ijaz.uk/TA, I have a structured curriculum where you can learn all these things I'm talking about. The EMA ribbon I use, Fibonacci ratios, head and shoulders pattern, cup and handle patterns. If you're serious about trading and you want to learn from somebody who learned it through traditional finance, through working in investment banking, then check out the link to learn it in a structured curriculum, not from a random YouTuber. So ijaz.uk/TA for that. And the final thing we want to check in on actually here is the dominance, right? Bitcoin dominance here over the last 4-hourly candlestick is showing strength. We know this move is primarily being led by Bitcoin, but that doesn't mean that altcoins are dead. Altcoins are moving with it. So it's not like we're not seeing movements from altcoin. We are. If you look at the heat maps here today, you got Solana 3.9%, you got Stacks moving, Bitcoin Single Vision, Render 7.2%, Bitcoin Cash. Interesting that we're seeing some of the forks of Bitcoin moving quite positively. I wonder whether that's a play on proof of work. So we're seeing a lot of the proof of work consensus mechanisms starting to move today, which is interesting. XLM 2.8%, Casper up another 4.3%. So we're seeing some greenness in the market. It's not just a solely Bitcoin move. The other reason we can see some of this pump happening is, of course, the dollar index having a little bit of a cooling off, right? Dollar index coming back down to test its 4-hourly EMA ribbon. And the question is going to be, does it bounce from here, or can we make it lose its 4-hourly EMA ribbon? Because if you look at where we're at, there is a little bit here of position on the daily chart for it to come down. But what's more interesting, which I need to bring to your attention, and I want you guys to really, really pay attention to this. When dollar index was on its tear, you can see here, it moved up and it just kept climbing, right? Look at this move here from dollar index. It went up and it just kept going, kept going, kept going. And at this point up here, it reflected down and it came down to collect some support from its EMA ribbon and also the horizontal support. It took that support. But what are we noticing now? It didn't go and create a higher high. So if this is going to be the moment that the dollar index starts reversing, this is an important moment. This is an important moment for us to show this curling over, it to lose the trend and start getting below its daily EMA ribbon. We've done this before. We monitored this together back towards the end of last year, which is where Bitcoin was struggling, and then it went on its crazy run towards the end of last year and into the early parts of 2023. And we're seeing the same pattern. Remember this, guys? Look at this. It was on an absolute tear. It just kept going. And what did we notice? It curled over. And then it curled over again. It lost its EMA ribbon, and then it went on a big move to the downside, okay? So could this be the early remnants of the dollar index finally calming down and curling over? This is going to be really, really interesting to watch. Or is the dollar index going to be like, nah, chill out, I'm going to go boom, boom, off we go again. So this is what I'm watching as the weather forecast to give us an idea of where we're heading in this market. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you appreciate the time, but emergency update, as I'm drinking my cup of tea, make sure you smash up the likes, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.